equality in sport. Our school, Ramsgrange Community School, prides itself on being an inclusive school.
Sport is one of the most powerful platforms for promoting gender equality and empowering women and girls.
Our documentary is to highlight gender equality in sport on a national and international level. We hope you will be inspired by it, and as aptly named by the recent little lad, get behind the fight.
National statistics reveal that more than 59% of people have never attended a live female sporting event, and that the same amount of people would rather watch men's sport on TV than attend a live female sporting event.
It is revealed that 50% of girls drop out of sports by the age of 20.
Participation in girls is 94% in primary school. This drops to 65% in secondary school.
Only 9% of Muslim women compete in competitive sport.
Hello everyone, today we're delighted to be joined by Miss Sinnott, who is a current county player for the ladies senior camogie team. You're very welcome.
Thank you very much for having me.
Thank you for joining us. So I suppose just to begin, where did your interest in sport begin exactly?
So I've always been extremely interested in sports, so my family have a big involvement in all types of sports in my local area. So I think I was about 6 years of age when I started playing camogie with my local team, Owlert, and I haven't stopped since. So it's something I've always really, really enjoyed, and I'll keep going for another few years, hopefully.
Yeah, hopefully. That's great. I can see there's lots of interest, that you got lots of influence from your family and friends and all, so that's really nice. I suppose leading on to the next question then, just to ask if there were any barriers for you when taking part in camogie or just any sport in general.
I suppose, yeah, even looking back from when I started playing camogie and soccer at a young age, there was actually no underage girls team in my local club, so we had to actually play with the boys up until about under 10.
Yeah, I think that's very common actually.
Yeah, so but now I see it in my local club that they do have teams, you know, from under 8s and under 10s and stuff up, so it's great. But yeah, we had to play with the boys up until about under 10, under 12, and then we had, you know, enough coaches and stuff to actually train the camogie team. And the same with soccer. We had no girls soccer team in our local village, so we had to play with the boys up until under 14. I think we were allowed to play, and then when it came to under 14 we actually weren't allowed to play with them anymore. So a lot of girls, you know, we either moved on to a different club maybe in a local area beside us, or a lot of girls actually just ended up giving up then as well.
Do you feel that there's a sense of inequality between ladies sport and men's sport, and have you witnessed this?
Yes, I definitely think there is still inequalities between female athletes and male athletes. So just from my own experience playing with Wexford, you know, the men always got, I suppose, preference over using pitches, using dressing rooms. Even they would get, you know, I suppose their training gear provided to them, meals after training, they'd get travel expenses if they were traveling to and from matches, training, whereas we never got any of that. You know, we had to buy our own gear. We never got food provided to us after training and stuff, but it has improved in the last couple of years, but it's still not anywhere the same.
Is there any advice you would give to your past self or young girls, women today, wishing to pursue sport professionally or even just for their enjoyment?
So one piece of advice that I would give is, I suppose, to stick at it. Don't give up, even if you have tough days when you're playing. Like, I've had really tough days playing sport where you want to hang up the boots, don't want to play anymore, and you go home and kind of sit down, I suppose, and think back on it then, or reflect back on it and see how you can use that, I suppose, to better yourself. Maybe try it a little bit harder in training the next day. You know, it's definitely something, you know, not to give up and to give in. So just to stick at it, I suppose, and the main thing is enjoy what you're playing in as well. You know, it is sport at the end of the day, so it's just a great outlet for people, and to make sure that you're enjoying it is the most important thing as well.
Yeah, well, thank you so much for joining us. You've given us some really great feedback and really great advice. I feel that I've learned so much from this interview, so thank you so much for joining us. Just again, we have Miss Sinnott, who is currently a camogie player for the senior ladies team. So thank you so much again for joining us, and we hope to hear all about your successes in the future.
Thanks, Avian. Thanks, Avian.
Okay, so thank you so much for joining us today. We are joined by Miss Moore, who is a PE teacher in our school.
It's back to the right half forward, who is Aoife Russell, but Loud would have been far better off gaining. Loud still have it, however. Chance on here, safe hands from Leanne Moore. She never took her right. Floods one. Is she inside? She's pulled on the left foot. Good save. What a save from Leanne Moore. I thought she was one on steps. It's interesting from up here. Good strike. It'll be 50-50. It'll be dropping at the hands. I knew it was dropping short. I just didn't realise it was on top of the keeper. But either way, Leanne Moore did really well.
But is also a Wexford ladies football player. You're very welcome again.
Thank you very much.
So I'll just start with our first question. So when did your interest in sports begin, and were you influenced by family, friends, siblings?
Yeah, I guess so. For as long as I can remember, I've had an interest in sport. In their own family, you know, my dad, mom would watch sport. None of them really played much sport themselves, but for some reason, I can just pictures me at home when I'm I'd say I'm 3 or 4 in Wexford jersey, hurl my hand, helmet on. That's why I just always wanted to be out playing. I have no brothers, but I have a lot of older cousins who are boys who are always out playing soccer. I always want to be the tick of it with them.
Yeah.
And like one of my earliest memories even, I was 2 in 96 when Wexford won the All-Ireland hurling final. And I think my earliest memory nearly is being up in my dad's arms. We had a poster from like the newspaper of the Wexford team. And I'd name all the players. And you know,
God.
So that's, and I just always had an interest. When I went to primary school, I was lucky. We had, from our senior infants, we had a teacher who, like, you know, I don't know how she did it, a group of 6-year-olds. She used to bring us out for we play Gaelic football. And I just fell in love with it. Always felt like it just had such a great interest in it.
Yeah.
Always wanted to be playing. I was just fascinated by it. And I suppose I was lucky. I had a group of like, maybe there was 5 or 6 of us who were very close friends in primary school.
Yeah.
All interested in sports, especially
I think
football.
that's really important, you know.
100%, because we all kept each other going.
Yeah.
And as soon, like I did Irish dancing when I was about maybe 5 or 6. Didn't like it. I broke my arm.
Oh God.
And it was the best thing ever because I had an excuse not to do Irish dancing anymore. So after that, I wasn't doing that anymore. And I asked Mom, I was like, the boys on their 10s team are, you know, back training. A few of the girls who were in my class, because their relations were training, they were going. And I was like, can I go too? Please, beg. So that that was no problem. Mom was happy to let me off. So we're probably only about maybe 7 then. Playing with the under 10 boys, which that's the way it was. Play with the boys.
The same with the last person we were interviewing as well.
It's like, yes. And like back then, it wasn't like it is now. You've got like nurseries for like boys and girls who are like, say, just starting in primary school, like, you know, to let them go play GA. Whereas before, that wasn't the case. So as I said, under 10s was the oldest age. And we were playing with the boys. Whereas now, as soon, I think you've got like maybe under 8s girls in the club all the way up.
Yeah.
So the opportunities are so much better now. But do you know what? I didn't mind that. Love playing to boys. We were never seen as any different, to be fair.
Yeah.
Now, you would probably hear maybe on the sideline some comments from coaches on the other team. Oh, sure, you know, go on her, she'll be all right. Or, you know, like kind of a thing of, oh, sure, she's only the girl, she'll be fine.
Yeah.
But then they were always kind of shocked at how good we were. And because we played with the boys, we were that little bit, I suppose, tougher. Growing up,
more like resilient.
And you know, just that physically a bit more better. And when we got to under 12s was the first time we played on our own with the girls, and we were quite young. I'd say we would have had maybe 3 years of under 12s, because as soon as we were kind of able to play, you know, we wanted to play with a girls team.
Yeah.
But now you'd kind of have 2 years maybe in an age group, and because of that, we were just as tough as the older girls playing. And there was no difference between us and say the ones who are actually at the 12-year-old age. So like I suppose from like it was always just wanting to get involved, and I would credit my senior infants teacher for
definitely
inspiring
like,
that love.
Inspiring a lot of the time.
And she was fantastic. She actually trained us, and you know I credit a lot to her.
Yeah, definitely.
Joined by our PE teacher, Mr. Hanlon. Welcome.
Yeah, I'd say there is definitely a sense of inequality in terms of the way the sports are kind of publicised, and kind of how often you'd see lady sport, particularly at the higher end, far less than men's sport. And that kind of has a knock-on effect then, that if it's not publicised and in the media or in people don't see it, it gets less attention than it would have anyway, and whereas the men's sports gets even more, and then that has a knock-on effect to attendances and to funding and all that kind of sponsorship and stuff. So it actually widens the gap as well. Yeah. So you'd see a big difference. Now it's probably improving a little bit, but there's probably still a big difference there. So the more the difference is there, the bigger the gap gets, which is kind of unfortunate, you know. Yeah, that's a massive stat. It's hard to believe it's that much. What can be done? Well, like what the ladies football are doing at the moment there, they've an ad campaign there linked with Lidl there to try and get people to stadiums. So if kind of that was done with other sports, it'd be great, and it might help with the FAI as well. Part of it's to do with the women's FAI team are doing a bit better at the moment, so they're doing a lot to kind of fill stadiums as well. But if it filtered a bit more to kind of club games and stuff, if they were promoted, if there was discounts on tickets, particularly to younger people, if they were going to get children and teenagers to attend the games, would be a bit better. But it probably all comes down to the promotion and stuff. And as I say, you can see that ladies football with Lidl are kind of starting that anyway, and trying to improve that, which would be great.
Do you play any sports?
Yes, I play hurling, football and soccer.
Do you play for any clubs within those sports?
Play for Clongeen.
In that club, do you notice any discourse, any difference between the boys and the girls, any gender inequality?
I noticed that they get more of an opportunity on the pitch and they get more attention when they're playing. And playing as a girl, it's hard and unfair to see it.
And with your sporting perspective, do you notice almost a contrast or a difference? Or is there any gender inequality within Ramsgrange School itself?
I think in Ramsgrange, while playing sports, that it's fair and they both have each chances on the pitch, and that they both get the same attention.
Perfect, thank you.
In conclusion, the culture of only looking after male players in Ireland in the GAA has to end. The steering group on integration here in Ireland is chaired by Mary McAleese, and they hope to have a roadmap in place by the end of this month.
It has always been a mammoth battle to increase attendances in women's sports, but if we have learned anything, it is that money and investment in women's sport works. Over 82,000 attended the women's soccer opening game in Sydney last year.
It is going to take time to change international culture, but male players must look at the amount of money they earn in terms of sport funding. They must take a more altruistic approach in balancing the scales between male and female players.